Obama may not give up the crown, just like Queen Elizabeth.
Now, these are examples of all of the things the right wing has said down through the years about the president. The president is doing what all Republicans refuse to do by answering them. He's stepping up to Rush and Fox. Joining me now is Joe Madison and Margie Omero. Thank you both for joining me tonight.
Thank you, Reverend Sharpton.
Joe, let me start with you. This is clearly a calculated move by the president. Can he stop some of the right-wing vile that is coming his way?
Well, of course he can, because again, he has the pulpit of the White House. But you know, Rush Limbaugh said the reason we stand out like a sore thumb is because of ABC. No, the reason they stand out at Fox and the Limbaugh stand out is what Limbaugh said about women in combat. Get a battalion of Amazons, wait till they have their menstrual periods, and then you've got a fighting force. He said that. That's why they stand out. The reason they stand out is because Sarah Palin thinks that the Kodiak Island is the largest island in North America. Forget about Hawaii. The reason they stand out is because she thinks that North Korea was an ally of the United States. And so the president has started to do what a lot of us have done, and he understands that the voice of the Republican Party that he defeated was Rush Limbaugh and Fox News, right. And everybody knows it.
Well, Margie, when you look at the fact that they've had such vile stuff to say about the president, by his stepping up, is this strategically going to create a climate for some moderate Republicans to step up and try to not be intimidated by the Rush Limbaughs or the Fox Newses?
Well, I think the president, in some interviews, he's really said there are lots of Republicans who want to come to the table. They want to work with me. They want to have common sense ideas and have bills passed. They want to reach bipartisan consensus. I think what you see is because of the way districts have been gerrymandered, you have a lot of Republicans not worrying about reaching regular swing voters, but just trying to avoid primary challenges. You have some extremists who are actually more worried about even more extremist folks coming to replace them. Yeah. And I think that's pulled the entire conversation to the right. And when it comes to Sarah Palin, the sad thing about Sarah Palin is she could have really given a real voice to Republican-leaning women who have been left behind by the Republican Party. But instead, she's joined this dysfunctional rhetorical family of Joe Walsh and Alan West, and all of them have been rejected.
Now, Joe, Sarah Palin is no longer going to be a paid contributor to Fox. And it was interesting because she came out in an interview and she said, on the one hand, we can't just preach to the choir. The message of liberty and true hope must be understood by a larger audience, which was a good statement for Sarah Palin. But then she went on to say, voices on the right like Mark Levin and Rush and writers here at Breitbart, and she was talking to the Breitbart people, have come out strongly against the go-along to get-along politician who waved the white flag before the battle even begins. So she just seemed to not be able to help herself. Battle, 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 further and further to the extreme right.
Yeah, you know, Reverend, it's you stick your foot in your mouth, open mouth, pull out foot, stick the other foot in your mouth. That's basically what you've got there. You know, they did the same thing to Mr. 999. Remember Herman Cain? And he's doing talk radio now. And the guy that he took over jumped him because he congratulated the president of the United States. You know, I mean, they can't help themselves. So Sarah Palin, look, $15. I think they found out she was getting $15 a word over at Fox. $15 a word, and 111 of those words were amen.
Well, let me ask you, Margie. Fox News did respond to what the president said. I said what Rush said. Let me let you know what Fox News said.
He just wants immediate pass. And Fox News is challenging the president and his policies, and that's what the media is supposed to do.
He's an imperial president, and he has dictatorial tendencies. He's talking about silencing members of the media that he doesn't like.
It's really bizarre, especially if you love the First Amendment, which he professes to do, is to say, you know, there are, quote, institutional barriers. You know what that is? That's a debate on television between people who disagree.
I mean, name-calling, belittling, saying expressions, Margie, that are very much biased. That's not exactly a debate or exactly just having free speech political comments.
Yeah, I mean, look, I think the president, when he says institutional barriers, he is not talking about restricting free speech. And I think it's very clear from all of his remarks and all of his interviews. And I think there's room for a lot of debate on all sides of the issue. And I think there's room for conservative voices and for liberal and progressive voices. I think it's important, though, to look at really what voters want. And voters want people to come together on a variety of issues. They don't want fighting. They don't want bickering. They don't want gridlock. And that was one of the real messages from the election.
All right, Margie Omero and Joe Madison, thanks for joining us.
Thank you.
We'll be right back with